Hi everybody. Today's Monday and I've been working very hard on a few videos. I want to get them covered here pretty soon. It's taking me some time working on the Antichrist and the false prophet and the mark of the beast. I really wanted to do an in-depth study on them. So that's going to take some time, a little bit more in depth than what I thought it would be, but I really want to make sure everything's accurate and correct. But today I am going over the concept of peace. And that is because in today's world, that's all that we hear about is peace. And similar to today, I found some comparisons with Jeremiah. And you know, Jeremiah is an Old Testament prophet that nobody liked too much because he spoke the truth. And that didn't make him so popular, but he did have, you see my cat right there? He did have some false prophets in those days that were saying that there was going to be peace, 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 when there was no peace. So the people of that day had done what we have done, which was they had heaped up for themselves teachers too, that told them things that they wanted to hear. And Paul tells us in Timothy to preach the word. He says, preach the word. Be prepared in season and out of season. Correct, rebuke, and encourage with great patience and careful instruction. For the time will come when people will not put up with sound doctrine. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. They will turn their ears away from the truth and turn aside to myths. And essentially, I mean, you can see that's what we've done in this country and in the world, actually. But in Jeremiah's day, people preferred to listen to the priests, the Pharisees, who tried to offer them religious and political peace, much like the world that we live in today. And most of these people, they claim to have the keys to peace. And of course, we know peace is almost always, it goes with prosperity, because prosperity is usually reached in peaceful climates. So oftentimes when we have war, you know, there's a lot of, you know, hunger, there's disease and so forth. So peace is one of those things. It's like the golden calf of today and the golden calf of yesterday that everybody seeks to achieve. Peace in your life, peace in the world, and, you know, peace in general. So Jeremiah was especially courageous and faithful to God in proclaiming the truth, even though he knew he was opposed by the king and the priest who did not want to hear his message. He boldly declared that unless they repented and returned to God and stopped worshiping idols, that God would bring destruction. In Jeremiah 6:13 through 15, for from the least to the greatest of them, everyone is greedy for unjust gain, and from prophet to priest, everyone deals falsely. They have healed the wounds of my people lightly, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace. Were they ashamed when they committed abominations? No, they were not at all ashamed. They did not know how to blush. Therefore, they shall fall among those who fall. At the time when I punish them, they shall be overthrown. So he's saying here, this is what's going to happen. You've said this, it's not true. There is no peace. And so they were liars. They said, you know, don't listen to Jeremiah. You're going to be just fine. Don't listen. In Jeremiah 6:13 through 15, both prophets and priests are godless. Even in my temple, I find their wickedness, declares the Lord. Therefore, their path will become slippery. They will be banished to the darkness and there they will fall. I will bring disaster on them in the year they are punished, declares the Lord. Today is no different. Even though we can clearly see from the Word of God, there are still those who ignore or downplay the seriousness of sin and teach that God is not concerned with our behavior and even deny an eternal judgment that awaits the unrepentant sinner. As in Jeremiah's day, there are still false prophets, political and religious leaders who issue false promises of peace when there is no peace. The message of peace and prosperity seems to go together so often and seems to be interconnected because these concepts, they sell in churches and in the political arena, seemingly everywhere. This is what people want. This is what we seek for. And it's the concept that sells the most. And I mean, people are willing, they crave it so badly in the world today. We crave this peace that, you know, that we need, that we can't seem to obtain. We just crave it. And we want this prosperity as well. But there is none. And so, you know, you have all these people, you know, in every part of society today saying, you know, this is the way to peace. This is the way to prosperity. I'm going to guarantee it, or I'm going to do this, or, you know, there's always something. But the truth is it's not something that we're going to be able to get. And, you know, even if you look at the fact that how Jesus and the disciples, God never promised us peace and prosperity. That was never a part of this life on the earth. You know, as far as Jesus went and the disciples, they all lived terrible lives. They went without. They didn't have much to eat. They didn't even have a place to sleep. Jesus didn't. And in the end, there was death. So we're not going to have this peace and prosperity likely, at least not in this world. So, and in a world too that we're so consumed with peace and prosperity in our own lives as Christians, the world is looking for peace right now. You have so many political people coming together trying to come up with some form of peace in Israel or in Ukraine or in some part of the world when it's unattainable. And it's because the Bible said that it would be this way. And there's no way to fix this world because it's fallen. And even in Daniel, you know, the Antichrist, he comes to confirm a peace in 9:27, Daniel 9:27. And then look at how he comes in Revelation chapter 6 on a white horse. He's trying to appear as the Prince of Peace. And it's because our world is such that we crave peace, but we cannot get it. And so the Antichrist will be the one that will try to bring this peace, this false peace, a false Messiah and a false peace. And the people will be so desperate to accept it because they're tired of struggling. I don't know about you guys, but I am so tired of struggling financially and in so many ways in this life, and it is difficult. And people just want that peace, and they want some security, and they want some prosperity. But look at Noah too. Noah was another one that, you know, he went ahead and he built the ark. There was no peace for Noah. Noah had to build the ark. He had to get through all of this. And it says that in Matthew 24:37 through 39, they were eating and drinking, living life, and had no idea until the flood came and swept them away. And the world that we live in is so desperate for peace and prosperity. that we are willing to sacrifice our souls for it. A lot of people are. They will do anything to have that peace and prosperity in this life. And yet so many of us know that that's not going to be attained until we go home to be with the Lord. And the only peace that we can have here on this earth is the peace in Jesus Christ, the peace in his word that comes through faith in his word. So the only peace that we are offered in this life, on the world stage or in our personal lives, would be that through him. So, and most of us know the only way to have that kind of peace, miraculous peace, through whatever we go through, is through faith in Jesus Christ. So I hope that all of you have accepted that. I hope that you know him, that you follow him, and that you read his word, and that you pray, because he wants to give us that kind of peace today. So I hope that blessed you, and I'll see you later. Bye.